For the holiday tomorrow, Lucanus is in his room in the Marked Bird Tavern, and Fletcher and Cedric are in the streets of New Seychester, having just successfully ordered Cedric new shirts. It is midday on Ullidamum, the 5th day of Bloom Run in the year 972.
All right.
Uh-oh. The chat is saying we don't have sound?
Give it a second.
Don't make me
I
call
just
that again.
changed something. Did we lose sound or did we gain sound?
I don't know.
Well, if we don't have it, I'm guessing that we probably
I just noticed that settings maybe needed to be tweaked, and I changed something, and I feel like we should have sound now.
Okay. Please tell us if we have sound now.
There was no sound through Cheryl's whole intro.
Oh no.
Nothing to Twitch. Is that what?
Oh no.
Okay, I am now hearing sound through Twitch. So yeah.
You want me to carry first? Okay.
Yes, I think we did not have sound through the whole intro.
Audio just popped on.
Well, tech problems are definitely Peter's fault now because...
Yeah, that's my fault. I didn't change anything. I don't know why. Why would it do this?
Sounds working. Names are wrong. Names are very wrong. I am not Ryan.
What?
Thanks, Eric.
They
Eric
were right
says thanks,
earlier.
Peter.
Why is everybody in a different position than they were a minute ago?
All Peter's fault. All of it.
Oh, man.
Peter.
Someday this will work. New year, same nature check.
Alright, that's where we should start the stream.
Eric says we should just change houses so the names line up.
Alright, so who's
They are
coming?
correct
Who's taking
now.
my place in Wyoming?
Oh, no. Nope.
Hey, you know
we're
what?
also pretty delayed.
We were 40 today.
40?
And there's like temperature.
Oh.
There's like
It
no
was 70 here.
Okay. There should be sound and
perfect.
correct names in the stream now.
Sound and correct names. I'm not doing all of that again.
Okay.
We know where we are.
We know
I'll
where
fix
we
it
are.
later.
Our viewers
We know
who
where we are. You know who we are. If you don't know who we are, our social information is down in the reference section. But as I said, Fletcher and Cedric are in the streets of New Seychester, making their way back to the Marked Bird after having bought Cedric shirts. Could you each make a perception check for me?
Nat 20.
Nat 20.
10.
You can see through time.
Yeah, apparently. That's
Cedric sees
cool.
the time knife.
What a way to start off the new year then with a 20. So sorry, Fletcher, what did you get?
10.
10. Okay. So Cedric, as you're walking back to the Marked Bird, you happen to notice, there are lots of sort of bills and posters and things posted on walls and signposts and wherever throughout the city. That's not uncommon. But you happen to notice one bill post that says something along the lines of missing, my daughter was kidnapped by, this sort of rough character who calls himself Lucanus, and there's a reward for her return, which, it catches your eye, and you're like, oh.
Oh. Oh,
Oops.
no.
Oh, yeah.
Fletcher, come take a look at this.
What?
Well,
What?
I don't know.
Have you seen a small girl with Lucanus? I don't think he's kidnapped anybody.
I mean, I've never been in his room, but he doesn't seem the kidnapping type.
Do you want to, read it more closely?
Yes. I mean,
Okay.
we're both standing there like...
Well, Fletcher pops it down off of where it is.
Okay. Yeah.
Reid and is gonna take it.
Yeah, okay. So basically, yeah, it's like missing. My daughter Carissa was kidnapped by this, rough-looking guy who called himself Lucanus, and
no.
I'm incredibly worried about her. And there's a reward for her return, and yeah.
Sorry, your daughter's a fish.
Yeah. Well, clearly this is clearly put up by that
the brothel owner,
right?
Probably, yeah. It was
this
clearly
is clearly
owner.
like there's no way. Yeah, Carissa told us herself that she didn't have any family. I trust her more than that slimy brothel owner. I mean, I did. Yeah.
Did either of you get his name?
Yes.
Virgin.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the name that's on the bottom of the bill.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, like, come on. I mean, and I mean, even if he is her dad, I mean, pimping out your own daughter, that's. I mean. No. It's
not good.
Not a. Probably not a dad that we need to return her to, or we would feel guilty about return. Yeah.
Well, let's bring this with us to give to Lucanus. This seems like it would most directly affect him.
Sure.
But also, we kind of only are all involved in that mess because of you.
Well, I mean, I brought it to your attention, but I mean,
we'll figure this out. Because also, if Kay sees this, we're all going to get yelled at. So
yeah, okay. I mean,
I'm just gonna tuck this in my bag, and we're gonna keep going.
Well, we can't just like. Yeah, obviously, we're gonna deal with this. We can't have this hanging over our heads. We can't be accused of consorting with a kidnapper.
Did the flyer have a depiction of Lucanus? Like, did he is there like a police sketch of Lucanus?
There's no sketch.
Okay.
There's a sort of vague-ish description.
There's a description though. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I mean, it includes the word elf.
Does it include the word elf? It does not.
Oh, nice.
That's good, because that would have seriously narrowed it down in this town.
Yeah. No, we're going to take this and show to Lucanus and figure out what we're going to do about this amongst everything else that we are trying to do. Because this just came back to royally bite us in the ass.
Yeah. I mean, who could have seen that coming? I mean, who knew?
Definitely not Kay.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way we could have known. Yeah, we need to tell
I
Lucanus
tuck it
about
in
this
my bag
immediately.
to take with us.
Yeah, because he needs to know to we should probably consider getting out of town or hiding him or something like that.
Disguises at the very least.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I think we're discussing this as we're walking towards the probably a little faster towards the marker because we're like,
Yeah.
I mean, where you were is not that far away from the marked bird, so you can make it back pretty quick. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going right back.
Lucanus is sitting at the bar having a drink, and he's sort of gathered the weapons up, and he has them in his backpack, and he's obviously on his way to Selva and just sort of waiting around, not doing much of anything.
What does the depiction actually say? What does the depiction actually say? What is the description of him? It just says he's a rough character or something like that.
Yeah, tall man, rough character. It a loose description of his clothing, but not. Yeah.
Okay. Carries around giant piles of weapons.
Yeah. Then I guess we sidle up next to Lucanus at the bar, and I'm like, "Hey, good morning." And I just and I slide that over, and I'm like, We have more to deal with.
Is the bartender there?
Oh yeah, Leon's always
Okay.
around.
Leon,
Yeah.
we're gonna need 2 more drinks.
Oh, okay. What would you like?
Beer.
Beer. Whatever.
Okay.
Doesn't matter right now. We have
Sure.
important stuff to talk about.
Okay, is everything all right?
Not really.
We'll see. We'll find out.
Oh, okay. Please let me know if I can help.
Lucanus is currently reading the wanted poster during this conversation. So he just sort of looks down at it and slides it back to Fletcher, looks over at Cedric and says, "I told you guys this was going to happen."
Can I just point out that you gave that guy your real name?
Wait, what?
You gave Wirgin Johns your name. I went back and watched every episode, and I am 100% sure that you told him your name was Lucanus.
Oh, yeah. I told him I probably told him, yeah.
Yeah, you gave your real name. You could have been anybody.
I'm Frank.
Well, first thing we're going to do is change your name.
Yeah, we have to stop referring to you as the L word for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
You can call me pseudo Lucanus.
Or how about like Eupanis?
By the way, any Beetle taxonomist is gonna be laughing at that joke.
I just got so excited about that, yeah.
I mean, I'm not. We seem to spend more of our time outside of the town than within it these last few days. So, I mean, yeah, we can change my name. I can figure out.
You're gonna be Frank for a while.
Yeah.
What?
Frank.
You're gonna be Frank for a while.
All right. Let's call me Frank until we figure out another good name. So
Also,
Lucanus sort of looks over at Cedric and looks him up and down and is like, I might also want to ditch the robe and have a little bit more fashion sense.
that's a good idea. I was just at this tailor who agreed to make me some new shirts. Maybe they could make you some fancy clothes. That way you wouldn't look like a rough character. If you, like a fancy suit or something. I don't really know anything about that. Maybe like one like Fletcher has. You guys, like, that fits him. That would look good, right? I assume Fletcher wears like academic regalia.
Wait, like a graduation robe?
Yeah. It's like basically a wizard's robe already. Oh, okay.
I mean,
the traveling
wizard's
cloak,
robes,
not all the like stupid
Sleeves?
Giant hood,
hoods.
Oh
and
wait,
the
and the
fake
little
hood
floppy hat?
strap and the octagon hat. And...
Wait, okay. Well, now I have to reevaluate. I have to rejigger my my mental image of Fletcher. Okay. All right. Yeah, we should get you some new clothes.
Like that.
Oh.
Yeah, like that.
Ooh, you look like the evil wizard from Dragon Prince.
Okay.
I don't know. His robes kind of look like that.
Get that reference.
You guys haven't seen the Dragon? Anyway, sorry. All right. Yeah. We should get you some new clothes, or get you out of those clothes.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. I missed the joke. I was gonna make a joke about shipping, but I am not on it tonight. Anyway, so Lucanus just sort of hoists the bag and he's like, "Yeah, let's go sell these weapons and figure this part out." So.
Well, we have several things currently. We need to get back to the Greens and let them know about these approaching orcs that are out in the land, so that hopefully they can raise some kind of awareness in the town and get people prepared and aware of this.
Mm-hmm.
We also haven't seen Kay, so we also don't really know what's going on with her. Her mom is not a super big fan of us.
Yeah, I'll admit, for a split second there, when I saw that sign, I thought we were getting accused of kidnapping Kay.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, she did disappear for like a week.
Yeah.
Again, her mom is not a big fan of us.
Yeah, which in retrospect, it makes sense. We should have done a better job of communicating.
But also, why didn't Kay tell her mom where she was going? Don't tell her I said that, because she'll yell at me.
I mean, I'm under the impression that human teenagers don't really talk to their parents that much.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, as a 30-year-old dwarf, I mean, I'm basically a grown-up, but I kind of get it, you know? Like, my parents are really lame, you guys. They don't get Moradin at all. Like, I mean...
Oh my god, that's so... Oh, I can't even believe it. That must be horrible.
It is. It's like the first, 12 books of Moradin are the only ones they even care about. Any of the
How
newer...
do they... What?
Yeah,
what?
any of the newer
It doesn't even get really good until 14.
Oh, I know!
How many
That's what I keep saying! Right? What?
How many books of Moradin are there?
They're like, well, depends on whether you want to, like, so there are 18, but then there's also, like, 42 apocryphal books, but, I mean, those are considered heretical, obviously, and no self-respecting dwarf would read any of those. And then, but there's the Old Testament, and then there's the newer Testaments. There's 3 newer Testaments that have been written since the fall, obviously. A lot of people have stuff to say about that. Obviously.
Yeah. I mean, what do you, like, can you, with that amount of books, like, do you just sort of carry them around with you?
No, I memorized them, obviously.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, what did you guys do when you were kids?
I just kind of figured that, they might make decent improvised weapons if need be.
Oh, yeah, no, they're great. Yeah, well, so every book of Moradin is bound in steel. So, it's, yeah, you could kill somebody really easily with one. That's why there are so many volumes. They're not very thick, actually. So, they're
it's very heavy.
Yeah, so it's a steel cover, and then they're written on, gold leaf, obviously. So they're very heavy. It would be very impractical to bring them anywhere.
So,
well, okay.
That was today's
Moradin lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Lucanus picks up the wanted poster again and just sort of looks at it and he's like, "All right, so are we gonna go find the greens and have you guys drag along somebody who is currently on a wanted poster? Or are we going to go get yelled at by Kay, and deservedly so, for
we actually don't
getting me on a wanted poster, and he directs that one towards Cedric?
Well,
we don't know where
Kay is right now. I mean, as much as I would love to be yelled at by her, we don't know where she is. And, I mean, Leon, I'm assuming she hasn't been by, right?
No, I have not seen Kay today.
All right. Well, we left word with her mom that we were looking for her, but we haven't seen her.
And whether that word makes it to her from her mom, we will see.
Yeah, like I said, parents are lame. Right?
Well, you went to speak to her mother because I told you that they own the general store, right? So,
yeah.
Like I said before, I assume if Kay's not around that she's probably running errands. She may be in here later today to make a delivery. I don't know, but That is what she does normally, or at least it's what she did normally before you all showed up. But yes, she works for her parents day to day.
Yeah.
She'll show up eventually.
I'm sure she's fine. She might need some time to herself after yesterday, so...
And searching for her would be a lot of out and about on the town, which might not be the best thing for old Frank here right now. Really, everything outside of here, we have to sort of consider what we're going to do. And if we want to try to address this Frank situation, we also do not have Kay as additional backup if something were to happen. We have to be very careful about what we decide to do.
Sure.
And if we're going to lay low, Casper also wants to meet us here. So if we're not leaving, that is an option that he will meet us here. And that could be slightly safer.
If he wants to meet us here, do we have a way to send him a message, or do we...
I assume someone picks up posts here to be delivered or about town.
Yes, there are boys that accept small amounts of coin to run messages. Yes.
Okay.
So we could send messages anywhere.
Maybe Frank should stay here and wait for Casper, and you and I could go speak to the Greens and sell this big pile of weapons.
I mean, sounds good to me. Doesn't seem like seems like if they're looking for me, the first places they're probably gonna go are the people where I buy my weapons. So Lucanus just sort of takes another swig of the beer and seems more annoyed than anything else.
Did you tell this guy that where you buy your weapons?
He probably knows all the
Why did you talk so much when you were just buying company?
I mean, I've never bought a prostitute before, but do you talk that much? I just assumed that it would be kind of a...
No, I'm just assuming that this guy probably knows a lot of the people in town who sell these sorts of things. So, him finding me could be as easy as me walking into the wrong armory. So, you guys want to sell these things? I am good with it. And I can wait here for our friends.
And perhaps even better if you wait here in your room for Casper. I assume if you're being searched for, they will be searching common places like the inn. So I can include in Casper's message that he should come and ask for Frank when he gets here.
Yeah.
I mean, are we telling him that I'm being framed for kidnapping?
No.
I
don't think that's a good idea. Don't tell people that. Hey, Leon.
I didn't think so. You know what? I didn't think so either, but
Leon,
some of our ideas have not been the best sometimes.
So I mean, you've been standing here this whole time.
Well, I mean, he's like doing things,
right?
But
sure.
yeah,
he's not just standing there.
He's not an NPC that just like walks back and forth in place.
Right. It's like, but I assume he's been listening, right? Like, this is kind of.
He's a pretty nice guy, so like he's not being very obvious, even if he is. Yeah.
He's not a narc, and he knows that having what essentially amounts to a free bouncer probably isn't a bad
I was gonna say you guys did him a solid.
Yeah,
that's true.
So Lucanus finishes his beer and just sort of leaves the bag of weapons at the chair without really even gesturing to it, and just sort of walks upstairs and ends the conversation.
Eric says if Lucanus wants to go out on the town, he can wear the head in a bag.
The head in a bag.
No, we need to take the head in a bag.
Yeah. We're using it right now, Eric.
I mean,
Lucanus
It's a
can get his
highly
own head.
sought after commodity.
Yeah.
I mean, what does the head smell like by now? Because
Oh, not great.
they do
'Cause,
not.
like, they brought it out into the town with them, so like it's been out in the sun. Because like Cedric left it with Fletcher on the street, so it's been like gathering dust, and it was in the sun, and yep.
Yep. It is not. I mean, yeah, no. They have to show it to someone before it gets unrecognizable as an orc head.
Yeah.
So, anyways, Lucanus is in his room and brooding.
Brooding. Dark and brooding.
All right.
Maybe he'll do some jazzercise later,
Mm.
or whatever the Arda equivalent is.
Zumba.
Then Fletcher's gonna write a message and leave. What would the acceptable amount be? Like,
It's like a copper or two.
I was gonna say, like, and
leave.
leave like a few copper for a message to be taken to Casper for him that we're back, and then he can come in and ask for Frank to Leon, and we'll meet him downstairs.
Okay.
He doesn't need to know why, but we also don't need him in there just like shouting Lucanus' name. So.
Okay. That's all you're sending in the message is that you're back and that Casper can come whenever?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
And then I guess Cedric and I will head out to the greens?
Yeah. That seems... Well, wait, do we want to deal with this pile of weapons before the greens?
Well, if it's selling, that's when we can just say we sold them, right? Instead of going through...
Yeah, we can do that off screen later.
Yeah.
If you guys just want to sell some loot.
Okay,
Yeah.
Cool. We are
Yeah.
doing that with the other blacksmith this time.
Oh, well, if that's true, then you might want to do it on screen because that's someone you haven't met before. But in
Other
any case.
blacksmith? Why?
Because the blacksmith that we went to last time, is a heretic, and I will not be shopping at her store anymore. I mean, unless the other one is like worse or something. I mean, I guess he could be like a demon or something like that, but.
Roll an intelligence check, Cedric. You're remembering something.
Oh no.
Maybe.
Oh no, I'm not that intelligent. It's a 14.
I mean, we already knew
14. So way back the first time that you and Lucanus were looking for a place to sell things, Kay told you there are two blacksmiths, one run by dwarves and one run by halflings. And then the plate and chain, which is where you guys went and sold the things, was like an armorer and weaponsmith that's adjacent to or like connected to the dwarven blacksmith.
Mm. Okay, so yeah. But they're the wrong sorts of dwarves, Fletcher. It's just, you wouldn't understand. You're just a human.
Well, we don't have Kay with us. Do we know where the other blacksmith is?
It's pretty easy to tell because they're also in the market district, and
District?
you can
Okay.
hear blacksmiths pretty easily.
Yes.
There's a lot of furnace noise and clanging and stuff. So.
Okay. Well, if we have to go to a whole new place, Cedric, for you, then I'm going to let you figure it out so you can see if you like these people or not. Because I would have just gone and sold things.
I mean, I didn't not like them. They were perfectly nice. I'm just saying, like, I don't want to encourage those kinds of people. And I definitely don't want to, encourage them around...
Those
Smith.
kinds of people?
Yeah, I mean... I'm sorry, but... So, those apocryphal Moradin texts I was talking about? Like, they buy into, like, half of them. Like, I can tell by your face that you don't really understand how big of a deal this is. But
the halflings probably don't believe in him at all.
But that's fine. They can't help it. They're halflings. They don't know any better.
Oh, boy. Yeah, let's go there. I'm going to let you talk to them.
Okay.
Let's go. In his brand new shirt.
No,
Oh,
he doesn't have no.
Oh, not yet. He's still filthy.
No, he's still wearing just his chainmail
Oh God.
because the shirts are on order, and the shirt that Leon tried to clean for him is still like hanging in the back room, wet right now.
He's losing so much chest hair to that chainmail.
I mean, so he's just basically walking around in something that very strongly resembles a BDSM getup, and the only way for him to not be in that position is to have a wet t-shirt contest with himself.
So, anyways, yes, yeah. Yeah. Cedric is a train wreck. We agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to go to the other halfling blacksmith.
Okay. Then if you're dragging in the things to sell, I guess I'm gonna try to stand outside somewhere, not super obvious, with the bag that has a head in it. Because I also don't want someone to come up and be like, "What's in the bag?"
What's in the bag?
What's in the box?
What's in the bag?
There it is.
I'm gonna try to not be obvious, and also not drag this thing into the store, where would probably get smelly very quickly. So
You say as it's sitting on the floor of Leon's bar.
yeah. So I'll be hanging out outside in like a side street in the shade,
All right,
and we're off.
then we're off.
Okay. Where are you going first?
I think we should go to the blacksmith first. I feel like we shouldn't show up at the
I think
blacksmith.
selling the stuff. Yeah, we don't want to show up with a bag of weapons and a head and seem like we're threatening them or
But
something.
like you could.
I mean, that would be on brand for Lucanus, so.
Or we could sneak in at night instead of like a horse head in the bed. We could leave an orc head in the bed.
Why would you leave a horse head in the bed?
What?
At least a perfectly good
That was
horse head
Cedric.
like that. Some of the
Movie
best
reference.
meat. Yeah. I mean, we can bring the weapons with us. That's fine. I don't know.
Oh, I think we should go to the blacksmith.
All right, we are going to the blacksmith. We have decided, Sheryl.
You are going to the blacksmith. Okay. So you make it out into the market district area, and you sort of follow the sounds of smithing to. It's not at the exact opposite side of the market district from the first one, because the exact opposite side of the market district from the first one you went to is actually where Elsa's shop is, but kind of in that general area of the market district, you find the other blacksmith shop. What is that?
Sorry, this is a picture Nancy drew for me when we were in Minneapolis. What's up? I'm married.
And so you come to this blacksmith, and you can hear the sounds of work, and as you approach, you can see sort of a middle-aged halfling man is working. He's hammering away at something on the anvil. He's got a ruddy complexion that's darkened with soot, and he's got thick black hair. His face is disfigured on the right side by the wrinkling of a massive burn along his cheek, leading to the crumpled remains of his ear. So, like, his ear is pretty destroyed by this presumably long ago burn accident. And so, yeah, he's there hammering away at something on the anvil. Yeah.
All right. If Fletcher's waiting outside. I did not hear.
Is that correct?
Yeah, I figure
Yeah.
The head bad.
Hello, sir. Sorry to bother you.
He looks up from what he's doing and stops and sort of, puts, it looks like maybe a horseshoe or something in the bucket to cool. Hiya. How can I help you?
Well, I've recently acquired all of these weapons. They're not of dwarven make, but they're serviceable. And I was hoping that you might have a use for them, and I might be able to sell them to you.
You wanted to sell some weapons. Yeah, I can take a look at them for you. So he comes on over. He's got, like, not a full counter, but, you know, there's a little bit of space on a table that he indicates you can put stuff out. So is this all of the stuff that you got from the orc goblin encounter, the javelins, the morning stars, and the falchion?
You tell me, Joe.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you guys also selling the armor or not?
I mean, the armor that I have is, you know, still it's still in good condition, so
Okay.
I don't need it.
Okay, in that case, you also had 3 sets of goblin-sized leather armor and 1 set of studded leather armor.
Yeah, but that set of studded leather armor, I'm assuming, came from the orc, and I'm still wearing mine.
Okay, so you want to sell all 4 of those armors and all of the weapons?
All the ones that we got from the orc encounter, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so he takes a look at that stuff. The goblin armor especially is pretty beat up and dirty and not in great condition. He sort of takes a look at all of it and he's like, yeah, I can work you up a price for this. You just wanted to sell these, or did you want to trade them for anything?
I don't know. No. Yeah, no, just sell them. Just sell them.
All right. As I calculate things on my calculator. Yeah, so for all of these, I can give you 73 gold pieces. Is that all right?
Does that seem... I mean, Cedric, he's a... You know, he knows a little bit about his way around the forge. Does that
Sure.
seem reasonable?
Make an appraise check.
I have a +2 for metal because I'm a dwarf. Does that...
Mm-hmm.
That's a
Yeah.
17.
A what?
A 17.
Oh, yeah, considering that these are all fairly used, and, I mean, they're goblin and orc made, it seems, so not the best, but also not terrible. That seems like a pretty reasonable price, yeah.
Sounds like a deal. Stick my hand out.
All right. Pleasure doing business with you, friend.
You too, friend. Have a good day.
You too. And away you go.
Yay. So much easier than buying
Yay.
shirts.
I can't believe Cedric navigated that so well.
He didn't say anything about the guy's face or about his race. It was
Yeah,
wonderful.
or Moradin or anything.
Or Moradin, yeah. Amazing.
So, I mean,
okay.
So, like, as he and Fletcher are, like, walking down the street towards the Green's house, he's like, yeah, I mean, he tried to sell me some stuff, but, like, I'm not buying any halfling-made armor or weapons. But, you know, whatever. He seemed nice enough, and he was willing to buy that garbage, so, you know, not his fault that he can't tell good from bad, but he gave me a decent price for it, so, you know.
There it is.
So,
Veronica is amused
job.
that was easier than buying shirts.
Yeah.
Well, because Cedric knows steel, but he doesn't know fabric.
Yeah.
Apparently not. Okay, now what?
Then we, I guess, continue on our way to the Greens.
Okay. So you head back into the sort of upper class district where you were twice before now, and you go to the Green home. So there you are on the doorstep.
Knock on the door.
You knock on the door. And a few moments later, the door is opened by someone who's dressed in sort of like, I guess, housemaid attire or uniform would be the best way of putting it. This is not the butler who answered the door the first 2 times that you guys were here. But she looks pleasant enough, and she says, oh, hello, can I help you?
Yes, we're here to see Master Hudson.
Oh, Well, that's unfortunate. Master Hudson is not here, and he won't be here for a while.
Where is he?
Uh,
Yeah, where is he on?
well, he and the family have gone on a ship back to Nibria. Can I ask what business you have with the master?
But it's kind of awkward to explain.
Just following up on a matter we've discussed with him when we were here previously.
Hmm.
We were trying to give him a heads up on something.
Wow.
Peter, I want to high five you for that one.
That's so ashamed.
I want to give him XP for that.
We need his help to try to make heads or tails of a situation.
Oh. But since he's not here, I guess we need to head out.
Oh yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, they went home to Tenebria, at least for the summer season, I guess. They decided it was time for Mistress Janet to have her coming out into society during the summer season. So, yeah, they went to Dormont. I guess it'll be lots of parties and things.
Oh,
So they're headed home.
sounds
Well,
nice.
thank you so much for your help.
Of course.
Bye-bye.
I suppose if you really did need them, you could send them a letter, but
I imagine that would take quite a long time to get to him.
of
Well, no matter. Well, thank you for your help.
course.
So long.
Well,
And we turn around, the door closes. I'm like, now who do we go to?
well, we can't go to the city guard. I went to them before, and they are very not helpful.
Are they not helpful, or do you just not like them because they don't know about Moradin?
No, I mean they're humans, so obviously they don't know anything about Moradin. But I tried to talk to them about Carissa, and they wouldn't listen.
What? So they just wouldn't believe you? So you think they wouldn't believe this either, even with a head in a bag?
I mean, they might believe us, but I don't know that they would do anything about it. They seemed very, very ineffectual. I don't know.
I feel like walking into a police station with a head in the bag.
It's a good way to get yourself arrested.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're not there.
Sorry, I'm just commenting.
Oh, I know.
Joe, you say it like you've got experience.
I mean, not personally, but I've heard stories about people who've done that, and it's almost never good people.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
People who are on the good alignment side of the chart.
Sure. Well, I suppose Casper, I imagine, I mean, being the head of the adventuring guild in town, he must have some connections and being respected around these parts. And he's already going to be on his way to the Marked Bird at some point today. Maybe we head back and bring this up to him as well, because he also seems interested in what's going on outside the walls of the city as well, and this is something definitely approaching town from outside the walls.
That's a really good point. Yeah, I mean,
And
he
so
seems.
maybe he will have good connections, and that someone could listen to him. I imagine he must be well known.
Yeah, I mean, he's at least got better connections than we do, I guess.
Yeah.
Our
Yeah,
only...
one of us is on a wanted poster.
Whoa. Yeah, that's a good point. Um, okay, yeah, so head back to the Marked Bird and
So
wait there for Casper.
Yeah, hopefully the message is already on its way. But we could head back if you think that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. I mean, the only other person we really could talk to who might have connections about this is Sawan.
I feel like I don't know if I would trust her. We're already sort of in her debt, and are supposed to be doing things for her. So I don't know if she'd care about anything we would say unless we have the things she asked for us to collect for her.
Yeah, no, I definitely don't trust her at all. I just
She's definitely out for herself. I don't know if she would really even care if this town gets like burned to the ground.
well, I mean, she lives in a town. Maybe she'd reward us for this information. Maybe that would pay down some of our debt.
Let's take these options back to Frank and talk about this.
Okay, that sounds like a good idea.
Okay,
We're
so
gonna head back.
you're gonna head back.
We're gonna head back and try to get ahead of this.
Uh, uh, yeah.
It's a
Gotta
problem
keep our
we're
heads
just gonna
above
have to
water.
face.
It's what, Joe?
It's a problem we're just gonna have to face.
Yeah, okay.
We're sticking our necks out for this town.
Ah! Oh man, Dalton Ludwig is gonna be so excited when he hears this section.
All right. Gosh. So you make it back to the Marked Bird. It's kind of early to mid-afternoon at this point, so there's not necessarily a whole lot of people in there, maybe one or two late lunching, but other than that, pretty empty. When you come back in, Leon sees you and goes into the back room for a minute and comes out again, Cedric, with your still damp shirt over his arms. Like, Cedric, I washed this and I let it hang dry for a little while. It's still damp, but I did the best I could.
Oh, okay.
It's not pure white anymore, kind of like a dingy whitish. But there you have your shirt back.
Cool. I'm gonna put it on. Because I'm really tired of like this chainmail is like surprisingly uncomfortable. It keeps like chafing me and pulling out chest hairs. I don't. You'd think it would be really nice, but it's not.
I think that's why people usually don't wear it straight against their skin.
Yeah, I've never worn chainmail, so I.
Yeah.
And Leon, was our message taken?
Yes, I sent it out as soon as you gave it to me. I assume that he has already gotten it. I have no idea when and if. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right. Leon. Can I have 3 beers? Fletcher, do you drink beer? I can't remember. 2?
Yes.
Okay. 3 beers then, and we're gonna take them up to Frank's room. If Casper comes in, tell him we'll be up there.
Okay. Is everything all right?
Yeah, great.
Probably.
Yeah, totally fine.
You've still got that. You've still got that sack, and I don't know. You just seem worried.
Yeah, though the sack is it's vegetable.
The sack
head.
isn't what you really should be worried about.
What? It's a sample of local wildlife.
You remember that he's the one who gave you the bag, right?
Oh, okay.
Like, yeah.
No, didn't remember that.
Like he knows what's in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Forgot that. Oh yeah. We've been showing it around town, or trying to, and we haven't found anybody to show it to yet. So now
We're trying to get rid of it.
You're the only person that's seen it so far.
Oh, wonderful. I feel honored.
Yeah, Yeah, we wanted you to know first.
Thank you. Hero your abuse.
Thanks.
Thank you. And I put some money down on the counter, and
Thank you.
we'll head up to Frank's room.
Okay.
It's a shame we can't put this head in something to, like, keep it from rotting.
Like a head in a jar.
Mm-hmm.
You mean like a -80?
Cedric doesn't know about either of those options.
I feel like with this we could get away with a -20.
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
Okay, here we go. Ready? Favorite thing you've ever found in a lab freezer? Go.
Oh, snap.
Oh God, Galen's freezer.
Oh my God, yeah.
So, this is not a lab freezer. It is a lab drawer, which I know I'm pushing here, but it was I think it was like a half-pound or a 1-pound jar of cyanide stored alongside like tubing and funnels.
Okay.
So it had been there since like the 60s or something like that. It was in a lab that I was cleaning out at Iowa State, and I've always, looking back, I've always found the storage, the way that this old professor stored that cyanide just really interesting, because, what are you doing with the cyanide and beer bong supplies, essentially?
All right. So, not a lab freezer, but when my undergrad professor, Mike Stewart, retired, in his lab, we found, if you've ever read the not Robertson Genovi, Introduction to Parasitology textbook, there is a figure in there of a nematode infection that was so bad it caused a prolapsed rectum. And that rectum is in a glass jar. Was in a glass jar in his lab. We found it cleaning out his lab.
You want to explain what a prolapse is for people who don't know?
Google it.
Do I? No. No.
Google it.
Yeah. So
a prolapse is when part of you goes inside out that's not supposed to have its inside outside to the world.
Yeah, exactly.
There might be somebody on the podcast who's a little bit angry with me at the moment because of what they just saw when they followed my advice to Google that.
Don't Google it! Or do! If you want to educate yourself.
Yeah.
Gross science is still cool science.
Yeah. And then Ryan mentioned Galen's freezer. We found a 50 ml tube of pure BT, crystallized BT.
Oh, wow.
And from back when they were doing trials with BT, like pre-GMOs, like when they were like trying to, synthesize it, and a huge jar of DDT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I was, and I think it's okay for me to talk about this now, but when I was working at Monsanto before it became Bayer, somebody handed me a 1 pound, or no, sorry, it was 2 kilograms. So would that be about a pound?
Yeah.
Somebody just handed me like a 2 kilogram jar of dsRNA.
Oh. Yeah.
So, for the dsRNA is something that is used in gene silencing, and or used for gene silencing. It's being looked at as an insecticide right now, and it's like the super species specific insecticide, but like we probably only have maybe a milligram or something like that of RNA in our entire bodies. Like we don't have when an entire honeybee is going to contain like 1 to 2 nanograms of RNA. So this was, just let me put it this way. I handled more RNA in that moment than any molecular biologist will handle throughout their career.
Mm-hmm. probably more than exists in every human in North America.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
2
I wouldn't
kilos
go that far.
is 4.4 pounds, for the record.
Yeah. Or yeah.
Okay,
So
Ryan, do you have one? Or do you want me to
Uh,
go again? Because I can go again.
Mine was probably just like the frozen dead animals that you'd
Yes.
find when like just like a ton of just like dead frozen crayfish in the freezer. Like it was always just
Yeah, we found a
frozen
dead.
animals people put in the freezer all the
In
I
time.
mean
me and
that's
Alan
not
Leslie
that's not a
found.
weird thing. That's a delicious thing.
Me and Alan Leslie found a dead copperhead in the lamp lab freezer, and then
Actually, I have some dead
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
freezer, right?
and we freeze dried it.
You
The
freeze dried it.
copperhead.
Yeah, because like
Nice.
I mean, what else are you gonna do with it, right? So we put it in the Dively Lab freeze dryer and freeze dried it, and the head like deformed pretty badly, but it freeze
Yeah.
dried.
Yeah.
Looked
That's
like a
fun.
freeze dried snake. It looked
Science.
like you'd
Yeah.
expect a freeze dried snake to look. You
The
have one,
lab where
Cheryl?
I did my Yeah, the
Yeah.
lab where I
What
did
about
my
you, Cheryl?
master's. So my advisor, among other things, is interested in birds, and he had been collecting all of the like window strike mortalities in the area for a while. So this was just like when I say it was a lab freezer, like we had like a big, lab freezer, but this one was just like an actual fridge freezer unit that had just been put in this lab. So it was just like the little freezer like you would have in your home fridge freezer combo, but it was full of dead birds, everything from songbirds up to like at least one hawk. It was very interesting. But that advisor then he moved from Illinois to California. Thanks for abandoning us, Nick. No, just kidding. He's a great advisor. But anyway, so I had to sort of help clean out his lab once he was like officially gone, so that the new faculty they hired could come in and use the lab. And in the actual lab freezer, we found all of these samples of snake blood. But like nobody in that lab, as long as that advisor had been, or that PI had been in that lab, had snakes. So that was just like snake blood from like someone else's random research that somehow wound up in our freezer, which was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It probably got put. So for those of you who don't work in labs, whenever a freezer breaks, which happens. So I actually about science fiction. I don't think that they're built. I think that they spawn somewhere, and I think that when they spawn, they're already like. Because I've never seen a new lab freezer. I know they exist, but I don't believe that. I only believe that to be hypothetical. Anyways, so breakdowns are pretty common because the standard lab is probably older than the person who's running the lab that it's in. And when the lab freezers break down, which happens pretty regularly, it's always a rush to just find another freezer to stuff in. So that honestly sounds to me like a freezer broke one day and they're like, we need somewhere to put our snake blood, and then they just forgot about it for like 40 years.
Probably. Speaking of breakdowns, because it's so true. So also in the department where I did my master's, they have a lot of biology departments have this. It's like a tiny little natural history museum, but it's really just like a room full of stuff. And then the Natural History Museum at that university has all kinds of cool stuff, but like literally nobody ever goes in that room, which is really unfortunate because there's lots of cool stuff in there. But one of the cool things that's in there, or was like a really big chest freezer full of lots of dead animals that like probably, the plan was eventually to get them taxidermied or something, but it had just never happened. But because nobody ever went in that room except like very occasionally a maintenance person to clean dust or something, the freezer broke down and probably wasn't attended to for days or maybe weeks, and then someone realized that it had broken down, and the smell was just horrifying.
Oh man.
Yep.
Okay, I can contribute to this conversation. So the second lab.
Oh, you're Yeah.
The second lab I ever worked at out of undergrad was a crustacean disease lab, and
Oh,
so we
that's
did. It was a cool system, but we worked on a couple of different crustacean species, spiny lobsters, and we worked on Hematodinium, which is a dinoflagellate parasite of a whole bunch of different crabs, but we were looking at it in blue crabs. And so we'd go out, we'd put out crab pots, we'd collect crabs, we'd bleed them for to test for the disease, and then we did a lot of research with them in the labs. We built these huge aquarium systems with all these blue crabs in them. But as you can imagine, they died a lot when you're studying the disease and removing a lot of their hemolymph.
yeah.
They die, and so when they died, we'd put them in trash bags and then put those in the big chest freezers in the lab, and everyone hated the job of taking them to the dump. So like occasionally, the freezer would fill up, and then people would just start putting them in trash bags and just dumping them in trash bags and like leaving the trash can next to the freezer. Um, and
Why didn't
then
you ever just like cook them?
because when a crab has been dead for like even like an hour underwater,
Oh,
it
okay,
becomes
yeah.
like disgusting, right? It's like just its body just turns into goo, and it becomes like
Mhm.
Yeah,
bacteria
because
just like
I actually
spontaneously
know.
appear all over it. Yeah, but yeah, so
Yeah, I actually know people who like work on shrimp and like did it just so that they could like eat their controls.
yeah, anything dead from the ocean smells terrible. But yeah, so I would always get the job of taking the like renting a truck to drive all the trash bags full of dead crabs to the dump. But the people at the dump would see our truck coming, and they had expressly told us that we were not allowed to dump stuff in the dump, but it was the only thing that we could do with them. Um, and so it was like I had been instructed at this point to like rent the oldest truck that didn't have any of the university logos on it and take that to the dump so they wouldn't see us coming, and then like do it really really quick. But I remember one day in like August in Virginia, there was somebody had like filled an entire trash can with dead crabs, and left it for several days. So like everything had rotted, like it was just like full of dead crab juice. And when I dumped the trash can out, it just like the bottom eighth of the trash can was just maggots. I just threw the trash can into the dump too, and jumped in my car and drove away really quick. It's like not my problem anymore. Yeah.
Somebody somebody very quickly offloading something in trash bags at a dump that smells very bad is perhaps not the best optics.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So
that's hilarious.
by carrying around an orc head in a bag, it's very on brand for me at least.
Yeah. Have you decapitated a lot of orcs, Peter, in your research life?
I did. No, I have decapitated animals, but never anything sentient. We'll say.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a whole nother conversation to have, is like how different would our research be if this world was filled with, in addition to like all of the quote unquote normal animals that we study, if this world was also filled with all of the things from the D&D like monster manuals, like how much
Yeah.
harder research would be.
Oh my god. Yeah. Well, you'd have to like imagine the IRB process. You'd have to prove that like every animal you're working at like wasn't sentient first. Like it would be like,
Yeah.
I want to
There's
work
like
on yeah, I want to work on these
special
spiders.
accommodations for magical creatures and
Yeah.
like yeah.
It's like
Well, I mean, even like sentient objects,
yeah.
Yeah.
like you would have to
Yeah.
go through. Like, imagine doing like I know that this isn't D&D, but like the Beauty and the Beast castle,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
having to do anything there, and like
It's hard enough to get
I
rid
would
of a
love to
piece
sit
of
on.
broken equipment at a university, like you can't, like, imagine if they were like, and is it alive? It's like, yes, it sings and dances. Okay, well then we're gonna have to put it in a special storage room for singing and dancing chest freezers. Even though it doesn't keep stuff cold anymore, we can't throw it away because it is technically sentient. It's technically staff.
It's technically staff. Can you imagine if your lab freezer also sang and danced in addition to being a lab freezer?
Yeah. Well, the most infuriating part would be it would still get better pay and better benefits than all the grad students.
Sure, of course, yes.
Yeah. Well, and it would just be funny because, like, you know, I'm rewatching The Magicians again because I love that show. But like, I would just imagine that somebody would that there would be incidents that would be fairly common where somebody just like accidentally curses something. Like they just the lab equipment curses would be real instead of figurative.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. And you know, again, like, you've only got the 3 chest freezers or, environmental chambers, right? You're like, oh god, I've got to use the cursed environmental chamber because I need all 4.
So, no.
It's like,
is that part of your block design?
Yeah,
is like,
I was just gonna
all
say
of
that
the
you have to
vehicles.
include it like as a block or a confounding factor.
Right.
You have to.
Or even worse, one of the somebody accidentally turns your growth chamber into a portal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you just
all of your plants wind up in the abyss.
Yeah. Or even worse, like, you just sort of open the freezer, or you open the either the freezer or the growth chamber, and there's like an iguana staring right back at you that's like obviously like 300 feet up in a tree, and it's like, okay, well, there go my controls.
Like, or the growth chamber is just a mimic.
Yeah.
You gotta put the sample in real quick and pull your hand out.
It's like,
yeah.
I can't figure out why none of my cultures are growing. Oh, it's because you're using the fume hood that does necrotic damage.
Yeah. every time you use a piece of lab equipment, you're like, first I check for traps.
Yeah. I cast Purify.
That's not what you guys do.
Depends on your lab. Depends on your lab mates. Yeah.
Yeah. No, my lab mates are all fantastic human beings, and they would never do that.
No.
The tech might, but.
Yeah.
I want to say hi, Jody. Jody played Tempest, one of the Abixians, in our special live in-person episode. Jody says that she found a pie plate of poop in a freezer once. Not covered, not labeled, just in there. That's a good one, Jody.
What kind of poop?
Yeah, what?
I am very guilty of putting Ziploc bags of poop in the freezer, but like I took it out again because that was for my experiment. But I don't know why it was in a pie plate. That's a good one.
Was that a sample or was that someone having like a real emergency?
Well, I mean, I've had some emergencies where I had to find places to poop pretty quick. The feces have never ended up on a pie plate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, usually not in a building. There's usually a bathroom. Mm-hmm. Outdoors, yeah, you can do wherever.
Sheryl, sometimes I forget that you work with dung beetles, which is, it took me a second to remember, why would you put poop?
Yeah.
Why there was so much poop? Yeah.
My field work started the first 2 springs when I was doing my master's research by filling, I think it was 16-gallon Ziploc bags with bison poo. But because bison are bovids, it's very much like cattle dung, so it's incredibly liquid when it's fresh. So you just sort of like scoop it up with a trowel and fill it, and you can fill the entire Ziploc bag. But then like you freeze them, and it's just like a brick of poo. Yep.
Mm-hmm. There's your improvised weapon right there.
Yes, Dalton, I'm glad you showed up. Welcome to the weird conversation of tonight. This is our science conversation.
What's the weirdest thing Dalton's found?
Yes. I want to know.
Eric, it is always a D&D stream, if not just sometimes.
Dalton, you have to go back and watch the pun I made earlier. You'll like that.
They're very proud of their puns. And in fact, I think you have time to do that because thank you so much for talking about weird, gross things you found in labs. But it is 7:30 my time or 8:30 Eastern, which makes it a pretty great time for us to go on our halfway break. So go grab a snack, use the restroom, get a drink, pet your pets, go back and rewatch the puns for fun times, and meet us back here in a few minutes. Thank you, everyone who's been watching us so far this evening. We are so glad to be back and playing for you in 2020. See ya.
Hold on.
See just me.
Yeah. What is happening? I didn't change literally anything. Is it just the size? Is the size different?
I don't know. I don't know what happened.
Yes.
What happened?
Yeah.
Ah!
Somehow the size changed.
There we are.
Yay, there we are.
Now we're back. Oh, hey, everyone. It's still Peter's fault.
It's still my fault. Everything is my fault, always. Address all hate mail to @PeterCoffee on Twitter. I will send it straight to my DMs. I have the notifications turned off, so we're good.
And to the DM.
Yeah, right. Eric says, huge Sheryl, everyone roll initiative.
Yeah. Would you rather fight one Tarrasque-sized Sheryl?
Or 100 Sheryl-sized Tarrasques? Oh boy. Yeah, well...
I mean, if we're fighting Sheryl, if we're fighting the actual Sheryl, it's a very easy thing to do. You just need to bring her cookies, and then she'll be your friend.
Rude. So that was the Tarrasque question was Eric's question last time we played, but this time Eric wants to know, and we're just going to do like real rapid fire, the first thing that comes to your head. But he says, what is the dumbest, most random D&D class/race combo that you want to play? Eric says his is Mousefolk Barbarian, and he says he pictures a pair of them that are siblings, and one of them, like the sister swings an enormous sword, and the brother struggles to protect her with an oversized shield, which I think is adorable. Mine would be a Goliath Shadow Dancer. So a Shadow Dancer is, I think it's actually a prestige class for Rogue, but they're really cool. It's kind of like sort of a magic user, but also if you think about, I'm not remembering his name right now, but the guy in Naruto who can use shadows to capture people. It's kind of like that, but they can also jump between shadows. It's a really cool class, but it's a lot of finesse, which is not normally what someone would associate with a Goliath or an orc or something like that. So that's Shikamaru. Thank you. I actually really like that character. I don't know why I couldn't think of his name. But yeah, so Goliath or orc Shadow Dancer would be mine. Anybody else?
I feel like I'd like to play a turtle cleric. I just feel like the turtle people so I mean obviously I'm already playing a cleric, but this would be way different than Cedric. It'd be real chilled out, maybe I don't know, more of a Jimmy Buffett kind of vibe, a real kind of stoned out parrot head kind of chill turtle would be really fun.
Jimmy Buffett cleric would be amazing.
Yes.
I mean, the man already basically is.
Mm-hmm. All right. Cedric is gonna die this episode, and I'm gonna roll this up.
Mine is... No. I mean, Cedric for a dwarf is about college age, and all we just need to do is have somebody give him pot, and then I can just imagine him overnight becoming this giant stoner. But
the preacher's kid.
Anyway, so mine is really
son of
dumb.
A preacher man.
So I want to play as a goblin class and have little goblin druid who's the cleric, a barbarian, and a wizard/sorcerer. So these would be goblins that would be a little bit smarter than most people probably, and they would hide from everybody else by just standing on everybody's shoulder and dressing up in a trench coat.
I was just gonna say they're stacked in a trench coat, right? That's the best.
Yeah. And then if you watch BoJack Horseman, the little kid who calls himself what is it, Harold Adultman?
Yes.
I would love to do something like that.
That'd be good.
Ryan, do you have a crazy combo?
Maybe, how about a bugbear bard? So that it's big, ridiculous, like, thing that's usually, like, a giant slobbering beast, but he's, like, he just wants to learn how to, like, play the lute and sing, and it's, like...
A sensitive
And like,
soul.
and so at the beginning, when he's level 1, he's constantly like breaking the strings and like, but he slowly learns and develops a knack for music.
Okay, I'm gonna need a children's book starring your bugbear and Eric's mousefolk, like together. Like
Eric says that would be called a bug bard. I love the sweet, sensitive soul bugbear though. That's adorable.
Or a bard bear.
A bard bear.
Bard bear, yeah.
Bard bear.
Oh, I love it all.
Oh God.
I love it. Okay.
You know what? I like this idea. Let's have that character be a multi-class and also a barbarian, so he could just be the barbarian.
Barbarian. Yeah. I mean, you gotta smash a lot of guitars on stage if you're a barbarian.
Yeah, smash people with your guitar.
Polar Knights say that they love the cam setup, the evolution of beard from Joe down to Peter's perfect beard. So apparently the evolution is Joe, Ryan, Peter.
It's more, that's more of a mustache hierarchy.
Yeah.
Ryan's beard is better than my beard for sure. So, and I feel like it's even more like tame tonight than it's been recently. Like it has been like. Have you reined that beast in a little bit, Ryan?
Well, a while ago I got like a cleanup, but I've been doing a lot more combing and conditioning, and so now it's very.
This is now a grooming podcast, so I like to put a little coconut. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I basically grow out my stubble until it looks kind of like this, and then shave it off. Occasionally, I do a beard, but I do not beard very well. So and we've actually talked about this a little bit in the background, but like my beard just sort of like grows into like this bush that just kind of stays about this big. Like it's not big enough to be like a really cool beard, and it like just doesn't look very nice. Unlike Ryan or Peter, who are sort of like my facial hair idols. Because, yeah.
Eric says next time he's on the show, him and Peter and Ryan can do a beard maintenance episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Only if you can relate it to science somehow. Mm-hmm. Speaking of which, sometimes we play D&D. So I feel like we should.
I mean, it's our 100 subscriber stretch goal or whatever.
We have so many 100 subscriber stretch goals. Let's get to 100 subs and then we can talk.
50 subscriber stretch goal.
Because at 100 YouTube subs, we promised we would do a Getting Ready with Lucanus video. So.
Yeah.
So about that.
I actually would like to do a cooking video, like dress as Lucanus.
I would like us to make a whole recipe book.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I'd record myself cooking a rat. Just saying.
An actual rat?
Sure.
Where would you get it?
Pet store.
Yeah.
It would be the most awkward conversation ever.
People buy them to be the snakes. I'd go to the pet store. I'd be like, "Hello, I am a person who owns a snake. I will not mention the fact that it is this big around. I need one rat, please."
Only one?
Yeah, because they eat it and then they don't have to eat again for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
I don't have very much freezer space because I currently have a whole deer and a whole lamb in my freezer. So.
Right, Peter the Lamb, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so you guys took the head in a bag upstairs to Frank's room.
Yeah.
With 3 beers. Is there anything you would like to do in Frank's room with your head in a bag and 3 beers?
We didn't get a beer for the head.
Rude. I do have an answer to this question. It is one that will make you never want to speak to me again.
All right, let's not go there, I guess.
Yeah.
So I guess Frank, the Greens are not in town anymore. So our entire plan for trying to get this place ready for a potential orc attack just disappeared. So we need to figure out where we're going from here, and hopefully soon, since we still have this head in a bag. Now, Cedric and I thought maybe Casper could help with this, since he should already be coming here. He runs an organization here, should be well respected and connected. Kind of what we were just hoping to get out of Hudson Green. And then we also still don't know where Kay is. So if she hasn't come by here while we were gone, we don't have her expertise to figure out somebody else that we could, give this alert to. So that's where we're at.
Leon
RE, the head in a bag.
Leon knows about this, right?
The head?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He knows that we have a head in a bag. He doesn't know it's because there's a potential impending orc attack on this town.
We should... Oh, I thought we told him that. Did we not tell him that? Well, he saw it. He knows it's an orc head, right?
I don't think we did. I have to go throw a BMSB out the window. Just landed on me.
Brown marmorated stink bug.
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
Oh, yeah.
You can't just say those letters.
Yeah, Sheryl, I forget that you're not in agriculture. I feel like agricultural entomologist.
No, I knew what he meant, but it was just if you hear those letters real fast and you don't know what he's talking about.
Well, we did talk about poop earlier in the episode, and then if all you heard was BM, I have to go through a BM out the window.
Oh my god.
Exactly. I was like,
Yeah.
Oh. Your hands smell like cilantro now?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, we can tell we can tell Leon to try to find someone. The thing is, we might even be able to find some of the guards and tell them. Thing is, though, some of the town folks here are orcs, and having somebody's head in a bag would be a little bit difficult to explain. So I don't know.
I don't know how much Leon, the everyday pub owner, wants to get wrapped up in all the things we're doing. So just telling him to figure it out, could work, but I'd also feel pretty bad about trying to make him do this.
Maybe he knows somebody that we could talk to at least.
Give us a grunt and a point in the right direction.
I imagine he'd tell us to talk to the guards, but Cedric, you don't want to talk to the guards.
It's not that I don't have anything against the guards. I'm sure some of them are perfectly
That wasn't
nice
the story 2 hours ago.
I don't think that they're good guards.
Yeah, but the guy who we got that fishing net from, he was an orc, right?
No. He wasn't no, Sheryl. Can you remind us?
I wasn't here when that happened, so I don't have it written down.
Was he a half-orc?
You did in fact meet Tabrim Nagal. He has greenish skin, short-cropped white hair. He's missing the ring and pinky fingers on his left hand and has several black tattoos along his arms. But yes, he is orcish in appearance.
Oh.
Tusks and everything.
Snap.
Yeah.
So,
because, Lucanus doesn't forget an orc.
I just figured that guy had some kind of skin condition. I just figured, is green not a normal color for human skin?
No.
You want to field that one, Fletcher?
No, it is not.
Oh, well, you guys come in so many different colors. It's hard to keep track. Um, so, I mean, okay, all right. So there are orcs who live in town, but this orc attacked us.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you bring the head into the police station, it might be kind of somewhat hard to explain. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
would you say the same thing if, I mean, something happens to one human? Does every human become suspicious or enraged because something happened to one human? Why would it be any different for an orc from outside versus the other orcs in town?
Have you been to America?
yeah. No, there were some
No, I haven't,
from
because I live
in Arda.
in Arda.
um. Uh. So. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that the guards here are particularly effective. They did not seem willing to help me before with Carissa, which doesn't inspire confidence. Um, so, yeah, I mean, I say we wait and we talk to Casper about it. Or we could go talk to Leon about it. Leon's really helpful. I really like Leon. Have I mentioned I like Leon before?
So,
So do we go down and
Lucanus is currently just sharpening weapons and
All right. Well,
do we go down and ask Leon?
Are you?
I think if the three of us together, Frank, you could come out of your room.
Yeah. Do you want to come down? My beer's broken. Cedric tips his beer upside down. I think it was a hole in mine.
my beard.
Broken?
Yeah. Yeah. It's not wetting my throat anymore.
Not beering the way it's supposed to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an unbearable situation. Sorry, you guys made so many great puns. I feel like I'm behind. So
Why are you apologizing? You just mean that they're ahead, right?
well, yeah, they're ahead. Either way, not being able to join in on all the good puns earlier was a bit unbearable.
Okay.
So yeah, let's head down and just sort of talk to Leon a little bit about this because he probably has some folks he might want to get out of town before it hits.
Leon,
Yes?
we wanted to talk to you about this whole head thing.
What about it?
Are you just yelling across the bar?
Yeah, right?
Is there anybody else in the bar?
This is sort of in that weird time that's like in between late lunch and early dinner, so he wasn't even actually like out in the room when you first came down, so like that first shout was like you having to shout his name so that he would come out from the back room.
Right.
Still a public space.
Yeah.
But is there anybody else in the bar?
Not at the moment.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah, we want to talk to you about this head in a bag.
Yes, what about it?
Fletcher, you explain it. You explain these things better than I do.
You're the one. This was your idea.
Well, but I mean, I don't know. People seem to like you better than they like me for some reason.
Lucanus just sort of shoves both of them aside and is like, yeah, I think there might be an incoming orc invasion.
His eyebrows definitely go up, and he says, well, what would make you think that?
Because the people out in the who are living out in the wilderness have been getting a lot of orc attacks lately, and just from moving around and walking back towards town, the more and more people we talk to, the more and more common it seems to be getting, like when you get close to town. So it seems like it's moving towards Arda.
And we were also attacked by the orc whose head we have.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
And he was leading.
Yeah.
And he was leading a group of goblins.
But don't worry,
Oh.
we killed him.
But that's the head in the bag then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. He was the head of the group.
You guys.
I wasn't expecting that one.
Could you quick roll an intelligence check for me, just because it's been a while, so I'm helping your characters remember things. What was that?
18.
18.
I'll just re-roll.
What?
You can't just
Oh,
re-roll.
no, I moved my phone, anyways, I got a 4.
Oh, okay. Fletcher?
Yeah.
I only got a 5.
Okay. So Cedric, you hear what Lucanus is saying, and you remember that the Abixians didn't actually say that they'd been attacked by the orcs. They said that they were concerned because one of their scouts had seen orcs at a distance and didn't know what they were, and so that's why Bedwyr was traveling, was because he was trying to get more information on what those things might be. Whether or not you'd like to amend Lucanus' statement to Leon is up to you. But at this point, Leon is rather concerned hearing tell of multiple orc attacks outside of the town.
Okay, well, Cedric, obviously, is going to be like, well, actually, the Abixians said that they had seen the orcs, but I don't think that they had said that they had actually been attacked by the orcs. But I think it's pretty reasonable to assume that they are going to attack us based on the fact that they attacked us, and we were just minding our own business. So, yeah, I mean...
Okay, so there may or may not have been multiple orc attacks, but this one, you don't have the bag with you right now, do you? So this one that you have in the bag did attack all of you, and also Kay.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
dear.
He actually stabbed Kay like really bad.
Well, a goblin did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the orc missed.
There were goblins as well.
Probably around long enough to stab anyone.
Yes, we know there were goblins out there, and also I guess there are gnolls that attack the farms sometimes. But I had not heard about orcs here yet. There are of course orcs at home, but that is that is a little frightening.
Yeah.
Do you know anyone in the city that we could speak to about this? Who could investigate more, or would be able to basically make sure the town is prepared in case something were to happen if they tried to approach the city?
Well, if you're concerned about the town being attacked, then the guards are responsible for that, but I guess there's also the naval fort, so the Tenebrian military could also do something, I guess.
No, that's a good option.
I suppose we should tell someone, yeah?
So the military and the police are different, huh?
Well, yes, of course. New Chichester is, it's got its own mayor and its own guard, and the military is they mostly stay in the fort, although I guess they are also here for protection. But New Chichester is not it's not strictly Tenebrian, although I guess it's sort of Tenebrian. It's a little complicated the way the politics work here, but yes, the city is at least in official terms not strictly connected to the fort, although the city is here pretty much because of the fort.
So Lucanus just sort of looks at Cedric and Fletcher and says, "Yeah, you guys can go talk to the military y'all want to, I'm gonna sit that one out.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's a good idea. I didn't realize they were separate here. If the military is the real force of justice in New Sagester, then perhaps that explains the guards' lack of interest in righting wrongs,
Well,
punishing evildoers,
they're not really a force for
protecting
justice.
the weak.
That's a little bit of a longer story as far as, I'm concerned. That was Lucanus speaking as Lucanus.
Oh.
Well, I suppose the military may be more associated with protecting the town from threats from without, and the guard is more concerned about safety within. So perhaps the military could be a good starting point.
Well, yeah, they'll happily kill some orcs.
And it sounds like we'd be going without Frank.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
All right, where are you going?
And Casper still hasn't shown up, so
Yeah.
so we don't know. So yeah, so I guess you be on the lookout for Casper to show up. If he does arrive, you can still be here to talk to him.
Yeah.
Frank, you think you can find something to do here in this bar?
Yeah. So I can, when Casper comes in, and I can tell him what you guys are, and I can be honest and forthright with him about what he's seen. One would even say that we're gonna have a frank conversation about the head and the back.
I have some abridged pamphlets about Moradin if you want to read them while we're gone.
Okay, probably time to go.
I'm good, but I would like to see what happens when I sharpen one of those books, though.
Well, yeah. Well,
Eric wants to know if the pamphlets are steel bound too.
yeah,
They're like thin steel sheets.
Yeah. Yes.
They're like
Are
hinged
they?
steel plates.
Yeah.
So it's still a trifold, but it's on hinges.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, after Cedric's several dousings already, they're like a little bit rusty.
I mean, is it blood or rust?
It's a really great patina.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how you know they're. Yeah.
They've seen some things.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well then, Cedric?
Lucanus just sort of heads back up to his room. So.
All right.
Shall we head out?
All right. We know where the fort is, right? Like it's visible from the whole town, right? Like.
Yeah, I mean it's technically outside the walls of the city, but like just outside the walls of the city, and yeah, it's pretty easy to see. It's a big structure.
All right. Let's head that way.
Okay.
Okay. So it takes you a little while to get to the fort. And of course there are guards at the entrance who stop you when you walk up to it, because they're not used to just like random people walking up to the fort and like in
With
armor,
heads and bags.
like full Tenebrian, like this is mostly like ceremonial armor, but still like they're armored and they're like, excuse me.
Hail and well met. Have you heard the good word of? Oh, sorry, force of habit. I mean,
They kind
hi.
of look from Cedric to Fletcher and like, can we help you?
Hopefully. So we have some evidence that there may be an orcish threat from without the city that may be advancing closer and closer to New Seychester and may pose a threat to the city and its people. And we are trying to inform those who would need to know in order to be on the ready to guard the city.
Okay. You meaning you need to speak to someone in the fort about this, or what exactly can we do for you?
Well, if we could speak to
if there is somebody here we can speak to who covers these sorts of matters, that would be, I think, ideal. We're fairly new to the city, so we're not familiar with your ranks, but so I would leave that to you to tell us if there's someone appropriate here we can speak to about these sorts of matters.
The younger of the two guards says, well, Captain Dawson Clark is in charge of the fort and all of the troops here, but if you wanted to speak to the captain, well, the schedule is rather full, so you'd need to make an appointment.
When would we be able to come back?
Did you want to go in and speak to the secretary about that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, if that's okay.
I can escort you in for that. So the older guard stays at the entrance, and the younger guard sort of escorts you in. And again, this is, it's a large fort. You can tell from its construction, it's sort of been built piecemeal. So Fletcher, you're familiar with the basic story that a ship of Tenebrian soldiers was basically shipwrecked here on the shore of Arda. They found relative safety in the river mouth just north of here, although there were some heroics involved in them getting to shore and getting all of the crew to safety. And they established this fort basically to await rescue, and then Tenebria decided that it was strategically important for them to sort of maintain this fort and enlarge it. So what started out as basically like a simple wooden structure became stone and became larger over the years. So you can see it's not necessarily especially well planned, but it is a very sturdy structure. And you walk through the hall to a desk where a very young man is sitting, scribbling away at papers and things, and the guard that escorted you sort of indicates this young man and says, Collins, these men would like to make an appointment to speak with the captain. And he sort of looks at you guys, and the secretary is like, yes, how can I help you?
Ryan, are you muted?
Oh, Ryan is muted. Oh no.
There. Okay, I was muted.
Yeah.
As your colleague indicated, we'd like to see the earliest possible time we could speak to your captain here.
Okay. So he takes a look he sort of rifles through a sheaf of papers and parchment on the desk and finds, the captain's itinerary and sort of going down through it, mumbling to himself a little, and like, well, there's the parade tomorrow and meetings and well, the earliest I suppose the captain could see you would be maybe yes, mid-morning on the 7th. This is an especially pressing matter, I take it?
Yes.
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 Yes. Then in that case, I could fit you in mid-morning on the 7th, if that would be all right.
That I suppose that we'll have to do if that is. And is there any possibility to leave a letter or a note of sort to go to the captain now prior to us meeting in person on the 7th.
You wanted to leave
as it were.
A what?
Ahead of the meeting.
Ahead of our meeting.
Yes, did you wanted some sort of context for the captain before the meeting, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, in that case, I can, he sort of gets out another, like a smaller piece of parchment and a quill, and would you care to dictate? What was that? Just relief?
Me trying to think, like if I was Fletcher, like, what are the words I should use to make it sound like... So the guy isn't immediately like, oh, they're crazy, we should cancel this meeting. But also see if he can, like, make it sound important enough that if he needs to act on something, he can do it now before we actually have time to meet him. We would need to speak to your captain on a matter concerning a potential threat from outside the city that may be growing stronger and approaching New Seychester and may result in damages or loss in the city. Something that we have become aware of while traveling
it's an attack
far and
from
abroad
orcs!
Outside the city.
Do you make that outburst?
Yeah.
And the young man sort of like sits up even straighter and like, oh, orcs here on Arda.
Yes.
Okay. That's a problem.
But outside the city, not the good citizens of New Seychester.
Not the citizens.
No.
That that makes sense. I'm not aware of any full-blooded orcs within the city, but regardless, from outside the city.
Yes.
Yes, I'm sure the captain would be very interested in this.
We can be found at the Marked Bird where we are staying. If for some reason the captain would like us to come back earlier than our made appointment, we can be reached there.
With our friend Frank.
With our colleague Frank.
Yes. I will make the captain aware of this as soon as possible, and yes, at the earliest, midday on the 7th. But please, yes, if you would like to come back then and have the meeting, I think the captain should very much hear what you have to say. This seems very concerning.
Thank you very much for your help with this, Collins. And by the way, my name is Fletcher, and my colleague here is Cedric. And that can be added to the note ahead of time, so the captain can know who we are.
Yes, thank you so much. Yes, and he sort of finishes scribbling the note. And is there anything else I can help you gentlemen with?
I believe that is all we came here to do.
All right. Well, yes, I will pass this along to the captain immediately, and we can reach you at the Marked Bird if we need you earlier than that. Yes, thank you so much. And he sort of nods to the guard who escorted you in, and he can take you back to the entrance. But thank you so much.
All right. I guess we just kind of turn on our heels and start following the guard out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
Meanwhile, back in the Marked Bird, Frank, I'm assuming you were in your room?
Yeah.
Frank, the most unmagical name. Frank.
The most unmagical name.
I mean, sometimes it's gotta, yeah, sometimes you just gotta name someone.
So you hear at your door, sort of softly.
Come in.
So Leon just sort of cracks the door a little bit and says, whatever they're calling you. Casper received your note, and he's here. I guess he's requesting to have supper with you.
Okay, all right, cool. I will be down in a minute, and Lucanus has his robe and sort of bucket filled with water, and he's washing it. So he just sort of walks over, hangs it up, and goes downstairs. So
okay, so you've got just your regular shirt and trousers on.
Yeah,
robe.
regular. Well, I'm always wearing the armor as
right.
a thing, but I'm basically in the equivalent of street clothes or a bathrobe or something.
Sure.
So, yeah.
And of course, when you come down into the main room, now that it is early dinner time, there are a few other people in here as well. But you can see Casper sort of in the same corner table where you first saw him. He doesn't have all of his piles of papers and whatever. It looks like he might have come specifically to speak to all of you rather than to come here as sort of a coffee shop workspace like he was the first time.
Okay. Yeah. So, all right. Well, Lucanus sees him and waves and walks over there. So it's been a long time. How have you been?
Oh, yes, it's delightful to see you again. How are you, chap?
Yeah.
Don't make fun of my accent, Ryan.
Same old. It's been quite a few weeks. Yeah. So.
Yes. Leon told me that you all had gone on some sort of adventure. To help a farmer, I suppose. But then you hadn't returned, so he assumed you might have gone out as I had requested, or as it sounded as if you'd been planning. So, what all did you see? And it's about at this point that Cedric and Fletcher make it back inside. So you can see Lucanus has just sort of started in conversation, it looks like, with Casper when you guys make it into the room.
Yep. So he sort of waves them over and gestures for them to sit down and says, Casper was just looking to find out what we've seen, guys.
Yes, so please tell me everything. What sort of adventures have you been on? And he's got like his elbows up on the table, like he's very eager, even for this very old man. Like he all of a sudden, there's a light in his eyes, and he's very, very interested in what you might have to tell him.
He's an excited little dude.
Mm.
Well, I'm gonna let the other two sort of describe the beginning of it, since I was gone on the initial trek out and stuff on the farm and whatever he learned about wildlife and things. Fletcher was there, I was not, so I'm not gonna, just to let you know, I'm not gonna be starting that conversation.
Oh. What, the Sturges and all that?
Well, yeah. Do you...
So we
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So we were heading out of town. We were sent out of town to go look for these birds. But before we could get there, we encountered this farm, and on the farm, we encountered this Abixian fellow, who's apparently one of the native people here, and he's tall, very, very freakishly tall. It's kind of disgusting how tall he is. It's very unnatural. But
isn't everyone compared to you, Cedric?
Say what?
Isn't everybody compared to you, Cedric?
Yeah, I know, freakishly tall. Yes, that's what I'm saying. So, but well-proportioned, strong man with these enormous horns, kind of a large, well hirsute face, nice and fuzzy. Well-developed beard. I really liked his beard. It was very nice. A little unkempt, but I suppose different folks, different whatever. He had all sorts of these kind of spirally type patterns on his fur, and he we chatted with him. He seemed very very nice.
I'm sorry, Cedric. I'm sorry. The person you're describing, you said he's called a what?
Bixian.
An Ibixian.
Mm-hmm.
And these are a native people to Arda.
Yep.
And you said he had large horns and fur. Is that? I'm sort of at a loss. I haven't heard of this sort of person before.
Well, now you have. That's what I'm telling you about him.
Ah, yes. Is that all the description of these people that you have?
Well, no, but I'm getting to that. I mean, there are others, but I mean.
Yes, and he, I'm gonna ask real quick, Cedric, you put your band from the Abixians back under your shirt sleeve, didn't you?
Yes.
Yes, Fletcher and Lucanus, where are your horn armbands from the Abixians?
I think I didn't even think about that. That's a good question. I think I'm probably wearing mine.
I think I'm wearing mine, so.
Obviously.
I mean, as obvious. I imagine it probably most of the time is covered by the length of the arm of my traveling cloak, but it's on my arm around there, like.
But mine is like, since I don't have my cloak on, you can see it on my wrist.
Yes, then he's going to sort of indicate, because it's got, again, to remind everyone, this sort of Celtic knot carving in it, but each of the sort of like exterior ends of the Celtic knot is a goat head. And so he's going to sort of indicate whichever one of those that he can see most easily and say, sorry, are you two, are you saying that these people are, that they look like goats? Or, sorry, the horn thing just made me, and I saw the armband. Do you mean to say that they look like goats? But that the people?
Yeah.
I suppose.
You could say that they're probably fairly goat-like.
Oh, that's extraordinarily interesting. Please do go
on.
They're mostly, they got some farmers. Some of them apparently like to travel in groups. They're and Lucanus is sitting there trying to think of what to say, or more specifically, what not to say, because he doesn't want to give away anything about like their defenses or their locations or anything like that.
Well, I'm getting to that. I'm trying to tell a story here. But yes, fine. They look like whatever you're talking about. I'm not sure what even you're talking about here. But
a goat is a very large mouse with horns.
Okay, sure. Yeah, they had horns. They're furry like a mouse. Yes. Anyways, we witnessed a death, which is, I think, much more interesting than the poor, Ibixian fellow. There was a native creature, which he described as being called a Sturgis. Oh, maybe that's interesting. He speaks Common very well. So there was this large, life-sucking creature, which attacked a local farmer. He assisted us in dispatching it.
Delicious eggs, by the way. Sturge eggs, very, very good.
Lucanus ate some of them afterwards. Probably the most important thing is my healing magic was unable to save the poor fellow. He died very rapidly. These creatures are incredibly dangerous. I
Oh,
definitely think that you should beware any kind of stagnant water kind of situation. That's what we decided. It was the cropping system of the vegetables in the fields or whatever was the water there was attracting them somehow. I
oh,
wasn't.
that's quite concerning. I'm sorry, dear fellow. I had no idea you have healing magic, do you? Um, but it was unable to help the victim of these. What did you call them? Sturges.
Yes. Yes.
Hmm.
I ran over there, and as soon as I saw the fellow being attacked, I ran over there, and your accent has worn off on me.
I was going to say something, but
And I immediately I ran over there, and I was trying to heal him, and I could feel the power of Morden flowing through me as it always does, and yet it did nothing. It did nothing to save the man, and there was nothing I could do, and he died in my arms.
oh, um, that's very problematic. And he's going to sort of shift his attention to Fletcher for a moment and say, Fletcher, you and I had discussed the possibility of you publishing about, or us publishing about things that you discovered here on Arda. Have you taken an adequate scientific description of these sturges, or whatever they are, so that we can study them and perhaps come up with some sort of preventative or curative things to help with this problem if it's encountered again in the future?
I certainly spent time writing down all the details about these beasts that I could, and I also was able to sample some of their eggs so that we can also explore what their life cycle is and how they are associating with the water. Certainly, trying to decipher these new sorts of things from this land.
Ah, marvelous. So they're egg-laying creatures, then, are they? Like birds, or I don't suppose they're fish. Although you did say stagnant water.
They seemed more insectoid in nature.
Oh, interesting. But they were deadly, you say?
Quite.
Huh. That's
Ask the poor man who's in the ground.
quite frightening. Please continue. This is very fascinating.
Well, we killed the creatures, and then we fixed the farmer's problem. I mean, he clearly he'd built these kind of rock walls which had built up the water which had attracted these creatures. So we destroyed all of that. We solved the problem. We cured the land of this scourge of the sturge. And then we buried the fellow. And then this Abixian fellow, he actually requested our help. He saw that we were all competent warriors, and requested our aid. And so we traveled with him to his camp, kind of northwestish direction. From here, through the grasslands. And then we met with his people, who are all similarly horned and grossly tall. We did meet with this one older Abixian woman who appeared to be more reasonable in stature. Then we met up with two other Abixians, traveled with them to another forest, where we encountered a giant spider, and investigated their native trees, which appear to have some kind of insect infestation. I don't remember the details of that, but we fought this giant spider and we killed it, and that was quite fierce. And then we traveled back. And on the way back, we encountered this orc and his goblin fellows and dispatched them as they attacked us. And it was quite the challenge. It was very invigorating. I think that's all of the salient details. I don't know, Fletcher, Frank. I don't know if you guys have anything to add. I feel like I said all the important stuff.
That seems to be, that's about everything sort of new to us from this continent that we encountered out in the wild.
My goodness, you saw quite a lot on your adventure. I'm sorry. When you say you accompanied them all the way to the forest, do you mean to say you went all the way to the edges of the Berberian timberland?
Yes.
Probably.
Yes.
It looked like a timberland.
That's the forest on the far eastern side of the grasslands. No one has actually been there yet, but we've sort of named it because as ships were sailing past that part of the continent, we noticed the rather extensive forest in that area. So, yes, you mean to say you were in the Berberian timberland?
Yes.
Yeah, there were already people there.
Oh, that's quite fascinating. And you said you found a monstrous spider there as well.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one fewer monstrous spider there now.
Oh, well, that's quite interesting. And it sounds like you met quite a few of these Ibixian people, yes?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They have a fine cuisine culture.
And you said some of them were able to speak common. That's rather remarkable. I suppose perhaps some of them have come into contact with farmers here from New Seychelles or something of the like. But you met quite a few of them. I suppose, I'm sorry, I could not help but notice the armbands with the goat design on them when you first mentioned the horns. Were these armbands given to you by these people?
They were gifts to us.
Oh, marvelous. Does the symbol have any sort of significance to these people?
Suppose it's just a symbol that they bestow to those they consider allies.
Oh, that's fascinating. Would you mind terribly if I took a sketch of it?
Not at all.
Marvelous. So he's going to whip out a quill pen and some ink and a piece of parchment and start sketching away and copying the design. Anything else?
I feel bad about it. I don't know if Fletcher would, because he's still an entrenched academic and doesn't see problems with
telling people that there are dangers in the grasslands and also the symbol for allyship with the people who live in the grasslands.
Yeah. And thinking that surely someone who's an academic wouldn't also be, a horrible, dangerous colonizer who might do something terrible.
Nobody checked for traps in the storyline.
I just don't know if Fletcher at this point would have that kind of distrust. I don't think he would.
I don't
But
think.
me, personally, I'm cringing and terrified.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. So.
It'll
And now
surprise
it's
nobody
not like.
to know that Cedric isn't thinking about that at all.
Well, it's not like, and
None
by
of
the
you
way,
did.
it's not like Lucanus hasn't, it's not like he removed it from his armor or anything. He's just sort of letting
Yeah.
Casper do his, what?
Yeah, he's just making he's just sketching the design. Yeah.
He's making a blueprint.
Basically.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to share with your friend?
Well, yeah,
Ryan is so mad right now.
So Casper, so the thing that we wanted to talk to you about is this, I assume we brought it down.
Your head in a bag.
Head in the back of the
No,
table.
why would we have brought it down? We just got back in here and sat down at the table. We didn't have it.
Yeah, it was
I
in
thought
the-
you guys.
Hold on, wait, stay right here.
What?
I will be right back. I will be right back.
Is he all right?
No, but
No,
Yeah.
usually not.
That's
No.
fine.
All right. Well. Method acting. What is that?
I didn't have a head in a bag, but I do have a
What
crow.
is Is it like a Halloween decoration?
Nah, it's just a decoration.
I mean, I'm not
Year-round
surprised that he
crow.
has something like that just hanging around.
Okay.
So, we were attacked by orcs, like we said.
Right. Yes, you said an orc and some goblins, or were there multiple orcs? I had not.
There was one orc who seemed to be in charge of a band of 3 goblins.
Oh. That's interesting. Although I suppose not out of the realm of the normal sort of operations. But I had not been aware of orcs on Arda yet. None of the military had alerted me to that sort of problem. Interesting. But you say you saw one and fought one.
Saw one and killed one.
And killed it. Oh.
I'm like, and I gesture to the bag that Cedric just threw down.
Oh, good show. You are really fighting spirited types, aren't you? I knew that you would be good allies to have in this sort of exploring situation.
Do you want to see it?
I mean, I've seen my share of orcs, good boy. I fully trust all of you that you killed an orc, but this is really interesting stuff. Well, I suppose, it might be useful. Yeah, he'll sort of take the bag from you and look in it and just sort of inspect it. And, yes. Well, interesting. But there was just the one.
That only one that we encountered. Although there were, we did have reports from our Ibixian friends that they had seen large beings like this that we identified as being these orcs several times, sort of roaming these areas outside the city. So though we encountered only one, it sounds like there are more.
Interesting. Yes, this is quite interesting. He sort of gets quiet and thoughtful for a few moments. Well, I suppose the Academy could not have chosen a more opportune time to send emissaries to this continent so that we could begin exploring, so we can figure out what sort of situation might be occurring beyond the borders of the city, and if there are any sort of things that might be, making it easier for the orcs to appear here. As I said, I was not aware of any orcs living on Arda before this moment. I don't know if they're native or if they have come here in much the same way that all of us came here, but this is most interesting and very concerning. So, well, it's quite fortuitous that the Academy building will be holding our grand opening, and I do hope you'll all be able to join us. Although, if you feel like going out adventuring again, I would not blame you. But the Academy building will be having our grand opening ceremony on the 11th day of Bloom Run, so just a few days from now. Our building is quite finished, and all of the interior is being stocked, and we'll be ready to open the doors and welcome adventurers and really set up shop here and start doing the good work of exploring.
We'll be sure to attend. It sounds
Marvelous.
wonderful. We've been looking forward to having a place
I love parties.
certainly a place for me to perhaps have resources, a library, a place to begin writing up my findings.
Oh, marvelous. Yes, you will love the library, and I have so many people I'd like to introduce you to. It will be a wonderful party.
I think that's everything that we've encountered in our first trip beyond the walls.
Excellent. Let me see. Do I have any more questions for you? Is there anything else you can tell me about this giant spider you encountered?
What was it called? Blood spider?
Blood silk spider?
A blood silk spider. And you did after some thinking know that.
And I knew that.
Yes.
Yeah. That's why I was just going back in my notes. Well, it seemed to be a fairly common blood silk spider, that's such as you'd find on the mainland. So it seems to be either perhaps the same sort of monster, or perhaps a very closely related species that inhabits this continent.
Interesting. Well, for you to say that common, that's rather amusing, I suppose. That I wouldn't say they're especially common, at least not in my experience. But blood silk spiders here. Perhaps this continent has more in common with the others than we originally imagined. That's quite interesting. And you said something. Sorry, Cedric. Right at the beginning about birds. What sort of birds were you looking at?
Oh, we haven't actually seen them yet.
Oh, well, I'll be quite interested to hear about them when and if you do see any that you're going out to search for, I suppose.
Yeah, we'll totally tell you about them. Mm-hmm.
Is this a moment where you need to make a bluff check, Peter?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh shit. Oh no. That's an 11.
He says, "Are you sure you're all right, boy? You seem a little ill. Is there something wrong?"
No, just I don't really know anything about birds. We don't how many birds where we're from. I'm from where I'm from.
He's twisting his mustache so much.
We're
You have a tell.
They don't have any birds in the caves where I grew up, so I don't know anything about birds. I've never seen any birds. I was excited about maybe seeing birds when we left the town.
Yes, well, as I said, if you do encounter any, I'd love to hear about them. And, of course, don't forget, Fletcher, I believe you said something about having some of the sturge eggs. The more samples we can have, the better. Of course, science does much better when we have type specimens, of course.
Well, when the academy is open, perhaps there are better, more advanced tools I'd be able to be supplied with to better sample things in the field. I currently don't have the best equipment, so getting those samples that are in good enough condition to bring back for study can prove difficult.
Oh, yes, understandable. Well, as I said, I'll have many people to introduce to you as soon as the academy is opening. I'm ever so excited about all of the things that you've told me this evening. Thank you so much for the information, and happy journeys in the future. I will leave you to your dinner now, gentlemen. Have a good evening.
You as well, Casper. Goodbye.
Eric says, "Grant, please."
No, that was literally gonna be the thing that I was gonna say as soon as he walked out of the room. Wasn't he gonna pay us to do this stuff?
Yeah.
My memory is that he was gonna pay us for this stuff.
Did you want to chase after him?
Nope.
Do it!
Uh,
He was interested in paying us for cartographical and topographical information, is what I have written down.
He said he would pay you for information. The more specific, the better.
Well, I mean, we're gonna be seeing him. We're gonna be seeing him in a few days at the opening in the academy. So
I'm
we
sure
can just
he's-
ask him.
I'm sure he'll pay us later for the. Right? I mean, I'm sure he just has to go get the money, and then he'll give it to us when we see him next time. That makes sense, right? Like,
Is that really what Cedric's worried about right now? Because what just happened with the birds seemed like there were some real wheels turning in his head
I mean, what do you
with
mean?
the way he was acting.
What are you talking about? What do you mean how I was acting? I was acting perfectly normal.
Cedric, it's extraordinarily easy to tell when you are uncomfortable.
I don't know. I'm not uncomfortable. You're uncomfortable.
You're uncomfortable right now.
Good comeback.
We're uncomfortable with the fact that you're not comfortable.
Well, I didn't know if we should tell him about the birds.
I mean, I think it was fine for him to know that someone wants us to look for birds, but I do thank you for actually considering the fact that we shouldn't tell him about our arrangement between the Greens and Sawan, who is a rather unsavory character. So that was good. You're learning.
You guys think he saw our wanted posters when he came in?
Have we seen any other wanted posters like while we've been traveling around town?
While you were out and about? Not. I mean, were you like looking for them?
Yeah, I think so.
When we went out, I mean, I can't retroactively do it now, but I meant to say I wanted to keep my eye open, but I forgot to.
Okay.
I wanted to be looking for them, but I know
Sure.
I understand I can't really retroactive that. So
Sure. You didn't necessarily see any, but like, since you saw the one, you could assume there are others.
yeah,
But you didn't.
Yeah.
You didn't mark any others while you were out.
yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Well, hopefully he got confused by the fact that we were calling him Frank all night.
Yeah.
I mean, from my perspective, this is probably the best short-term disguise, but because they they didn't mention elves in the wanted poster, and who's gonna be looking for an elf, or who's gonna think that's an elf?
That's true.
Yeah.
Of course, that means I'm gonna have to go out without that robe, so that'll be fun.
Well, like I said, there's a really great tailor just up the street. She's really nice. It made.
I mean, she was able to deal with him, so I figure it'd be really easy with you.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Yeah.
it made clothes shopping like barely stressful at all.
Well, I'm perfectly fine getting some new duds if you guys want to, head out there and show me where it is.
She's likely closed by this point in the evening, but I'm sure I'm sure you could definitely explore there.
What time of day is it now?
I mean, Sheryl was saying he came when we were going to be having like dinner. So
Oh, okay. We're eating dinner right now. I thought it was
Yeah.
earlier. Okay.
Also, I assume Lucanus has just been day drinking all day long.
me too.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what I've assumed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. He is very much.
Just got that like low, consistent buzz going.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's just like.
Yeah,
tired.
he is like wine drunk.
Mm.
Like people get at brunch.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
brunch drunk.
French.
Well, so I guess so over dinner, I guess while we're eating, like, well, what shall we say we do tomorrow? And I fill in Lucanus and what happened at the fort, and then we have, they seem to be like alarmed and interested in what we said, but we don't have a meeting for 2 days to go over there. And so after I go through that, I say, well, what shall we get up to tomorrow? We can, I suppose, try to address the town guard about the orc situation, but the military seems to be interested in it, and I suppose if they see fit, they will contact the guard themselves, and they are probably the superior power in the situation. The Greens aren't here, so we can't go that route. We still don't know where Kay is. She never showed up today. Yeah, I don't know where should we go from here tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't know. You guys already sold those weapons, right?
Oh
yeah.
Yeah. Cedric pulls out the pouch with the gold in it.
So we can go check out the tailor. It might not be a bad idea to see how many of those wanted posters are around. See if they're just posted in this neighborhood or all over the place.
We can do a video game item finding mission. Collect all 20 wanted posters.
No.
I was thinking more just make sure that you guys aren't on the posters as well.
Yeah. Well, you were the only one who went in the brothel and interacted with Virgin.
Well, I went in there, but it was like.
Oh, I guess Virgin did meet you.
Yeah, he did meet me, but it was separate.
Yeah, not associated with Carissa disappearing.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I mean, there's been some other things. We've gotten in fights and, done some miscellaneous stuff. So, maybe find the mermaids, see if they'll take care of this wanted poster for us.
Find the mermaids?
What would mermaids
Remember, Candace has been day drinking by this point.
She starts like, it's like, oh, maybe, yeah.
Yeah. We'll follow up on that. It's
I'm
a good
sure.
idea.
I'm sure they have some. I'm sure they have some fighters that could help us out. Sorry, I'm not doing a great drunk Lucanus at the moment.
You're doing a fine job.
That's okay. When Lucanus was pretending to be drunk, he said "yar" a lot. So
yeah. So he's a little. Yeah, he's more than a little wasted at the moment. So some of his ideas aren't great.
Sure. We've all,
but
we've been
he's
there.
also, yeah.
I guess would we just like wrap up dinner and try to figure this out in the morning instead?
I guess so. I mean, I feel like we should find Kay. She really knows more of the political nature of, I don't know, who to talk to in this town, and but I don't know.
We have no idea where to find her.
Oh, I mean,
perhaps we could get a message to her. If we leave another message with Leon, perhaps a messenger boy would just know where that family lives. If they are that familiar with town that they deliver messages,
that seems
perhaps
like a
we
good
could
idea.
just even get a letter to Kay.
And then we could follow them, and then we could go into her house, and then we would see her there.
Well, that's breaking and entering.
That's a good point. Okay. So
we could stand outside and throw little pebbles at her window.
Or hold up a boombox.
Or hold up a boombox.
Mm-hmm. Boombox is what we use
for
for explosives that we use for mining.
Yeah,
back home.
that's a box that we put
booms in. Yeah.
Ammunition powder in.
Do you have a boombox here, Cedric? Because it sounds like it could be fun or useful.
Yeah, I don't, unfortunately. I decided not to travel with any explosives. I thought.
They wouldn't let him on the airplane with us.
Yeah, the magical TSA said no.
Yeah, I tried, but...
Oh, God. That would be another job. You know, we were talking about, like, how our jobs would change if it took place in a D&D world. A TSA-like entity would be.
Excuse me, sir,
God.
is that a wand?
Right.
What is it, a wand?
Traveling with anything flammable, hazardous, liquid, magical, enchanted,
Cursed.
Poisonous, cursed, haunted.
It's not just an X-ray machine. It's like a test for everything machine.
Right. Detect magic machine.
Yeah.
They've got like people casting like true sight so they can see invisible things trying to get through the line. And
Well, and if something like if somebody's like, let's say that somebody's luggage is sentient, like would you have to buy a ticket for the luggage?
That's some Discworld level stuff right there.
Yeah.
Or if your luggage is a mimic.
Yeah.
So you make the magical TSA agents look in your luggage, but then they bite their arm off.
Sir, this is a non-smoking flight, so I'm gonna have to ask you to...
And the orcs are always pulled out of line for random security checks. Yeah. No, he has no boombox.
Yeah. Well, I suppose in the morning we can meet back and try to get a word to Kay.
Okay.
I mean, we could just leave a note here and have
Why
it
not
get
both?
delivered. I mean, we could just leave the note tonight, and then when they pick up the mail tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah,
Leon
we could do
seems
that.
to be able to get a message out whenever you want. That's what we did today. And he knows, and he also knows if Kay shows up, he'll tell her.
Yeah.
We've been waiting
and it's
for
not
her.
like I'm doing. He just sort of holds up a glass and he's like, it's not like I'm going anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the thing is...
Too bad
Maybe
Cedric doesn't have
tomorrow.
remove poison.
Yeah. You're just gonna be hungover tomorrow, bud.
Maybe tomorrow we can get out and about with Frank.
Out and about with Frank. That sounds like another children's book.
I think the thing about the marked bird, the Twitter bar is, you can always send a message out, whether or not anybody is gonna read it.
Whether you
into the
get any
void.
responses you want.
Yeah.
That letter might get ratioed. You never know.
Yeah.
Will attract a lot of trolls and
on the
gnolls
message
and
board.
orcs.
Oh no, you don't get trolls.
Literal trolls.
On the message board, they use the 3-dot system to let you know if the message has been delivered. If it does not deliver, there's 3 dots there that just appear and reappear.
Oh, you guys are terrible. Is there anything else you'd like to do this evening, or are you all just going to bed now?
No, I think
Lucanus is getting very, very drunk.
More drunk.
More drunk. Very much more drunk.
That's all I'd be doing.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, I'd be dinner, go to bed. We're having a hard time coming up with... We have so many things that are like at an impasse right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like... It's like we could try to do one of the other things outside the city, but it's also like...
Right, we gotta be back here in 2 days.
Yeah, if you're back in 2 days, and we're concerned about Kay, so if we're just gone, and she comes to find us, so it's like we couldn't get word to her, and then it seems like we just like abandoned her.
Right.
Like we have no idea what's going on, so Fletcher doesn't really feel like just leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Lucanus is here, so I mean, if she stumbles in or finds her way in,
Yeah.
Lucanus will stumble into her.
Literally stumbling drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, let's figure this all out tomorrow. I don't feel like figuring it out right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then Lucanus just sort of crawls up the stairs and passes out in bed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bedtime.
All right, bedtime. Well, that concludes Oladamum, the 5th day of Bloom Run. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Hi, Waryoshi. We're glad to see you in chat. Thank you so much to Eric, Veronica. Who else was in there? Dalton was in there. Jody was watching us on Periscope. There were a few other names that I can't find as I'm scrolling back through the chat now. But thank you to everyone who watched us this evening. And chat, you're on fire, and I love it so much. You're the best. Thank you for hanging out and listening to these guys try to figure out what the heck to do about the orcs on Arda and try to figure out what they're going to do next on their to-do list. Don't forget that we will be back on Saturday, January 25th with the next installment of Nature Check. But in the meantime, on Saturday, January 18th, Emily will be playing the Untitled Goose Game here on our Twitch channel at twitch.tv/naturecheckdnd. So please come hang out with her and watch her play the Untitled Goose Game and talk about science. It's going to be hilarious. I will be streaming, I think I'm going to play Minecraft first. I might do species accumulation curves and run around in the Minecraft world on Wednesdays. So that'll be fun. But yeah, we'll be talking about science and playing video games when we're not talking about science and playing D&D. So please come back and check us out whenever. Anybody have anything else they'd like to share this evening?
No.
Joe's feeling his illness, so it's about time for us to log off so everybody can go take a long rest.
For those of you, I don't know if I said this at the beginning, but I am terribly, terribly sick today, so yeah.
He's down with the sickness, but he's here anyway.
Might have been good that Frank took it easy, so you got to take it easy.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we appreciate everybody watching, and we appreciate everyone playing. Thank you so much. We're glad to be playing for you in 2020, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Good night, everyone. Bye.